Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pink Table Talk. I am your host, Loria Reed, and we are back with another great episode of Topics for Us by Us Ladies. And today is no different. And I am super duper, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, as they used to say, excited about our guest today. We are talking about pioneer women and women who are blazing the path for all of us. So please go ahead on, get ready, share this, like this, send this to your friends. Make sure that you tell us where you're watching from. You can comment as we're going along and talking to our special guest today. So I'm going to go ahead on and introduce her. Our guest today, she made history this year. I'll say that first. She is the first African-American and the first woman in the position of district attorney in Macon, Georgia. She was elected in November of 2020 and was sworn in, I believe, either the end of last year or the beginning of this year. And we are so excited for her. She is a part of the House of Hope Nation at the House of Hope Macon under our campus pastor, Pastor J.C. Howard. We're so excited about all of this because she's one of ours. And then we have so many great things to talk to her about. So would you all please welcome with me, Mrs. / District Attorney Anita Reynolds Howard. District Attorney Howard, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am so glad to have her here with us today. And we've got a little bit of history, only because our fathers are friends. And our mothers taught elementary school together in Warner Robins, Georgia, because she is from the Wartown as well. So we are so excited.
Represent Wartown always. Now I graduated from Houston County School.
That's it. Hoko all the way. But I'm so glad that you're in the position that you're in. And I want to pick your brain a little bit to ask you a couple of questions so we can get some inspiration and find out how we can get our aspirations going just as you are. So I know that this can sometimes be overwhelming, but how does it feel being a pioneer in Macon, Georgia? And I stated in your bio that you are the first African-American and the first female to be district attorney in that area. So how does it feel to be in that position?
Well, I'm blessed that, God, saw fit to, predestine me for this position. I'm honored that the community overwhelmingly, they listened to what I had to say, things that I wanted to do, and they believed in me and they supported me. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be a pioneer because I know it's important that we have leadership of excellence that is reflective of who we are. And so I may be the first, district attorney that's a female and African-American, but I know that I won't be the last because we are going to leave a legacy of excellence that truly benefits the needs and the concerns of this community. And I'm just honored to serve the community.
Yeah, and we're glad that you're serving in that community.
Yes, yes.
Right. So my next question was, how did you choose the path of being an attorney, period? Was that something that you had growing up, or did you decide later on in life that you wanted to become an attorney? Did you choose the path, or did the path choose you?
Well, I think, the path chose me. But, I had a lot of influence from my mother and my father. My dad always said, he should have been an attorney. And he also said that I talked so much that I needed to put that, that tool that to good use. So I think even as a small child, he was like, you're going to be an attorney. But I do believe it's so important. And I know he was, I know in a sense he was kind of joking, but at the same time, I think it's so vital and important that even as parents, even as, aunts and that kind of thing, that we speak life over our children. And, little did he know that would one day become reality. If you tell your children they're not going to be anything, they're not going to do anything, then sometimes, that's what happens. But, I was blessed to have parents that always spoke life over me, believed that there was nothing, that I couldn't achieve with the help of the Lord and a plan. So I said I started this campaign with a prayer and a plan, and I just worked that plan. And there were days that were, overwhelming. There were sometimes I would get certain rejections, and and that's hard. You don't understand why, especially from some folks that you think, this person's going to support me, but then God would immediately send confirmation that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, because then he would send the unexpected, and God showed himself strong and mighty, just from day one of this campaign till the very end. So I'm just excited.
I'm excited for you. I'm like, this is just so monumental. I am so proud of you. Like, really, I
Yeah.
am.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
no problem. In keeping with that, I know a lot of people kind of want to know insider information. Like, what is the life like as a district attorney? What is your day like? How does it go? Do you just come in and just start trying cases, or like, what do you do? What is the life like?
Well, I've been a prosecutor for 16 years. So I love trying cases. I love being in the courtroom. I like how fast paced it is, thinking on your feet, those kind of things. But as a district attorney, you don't get to do as much of that. I'm still hopeful that I'm going to be able to get in the courtroom, but you act more as a administrator or manager. Our office consists of about 55 employees. And at the end of the day, being the elected, there's obviously other folks in leadership, but being the elected at the end of the day, most decisions at some point, they come by my desk. So, dealing with just the workings of the office, trying to, boost the morale in the office. I was excited to be able to bring a lot of the talent that had actually left this circuit, bring some career assistant district attorneys back. Also, I deal with the community a lot, which, I love that. It's a little bit more challenging, obviously, to do in COVID, but we're still able to do that. We're doing a lot of Zoom. We do a few meetings, a few in-person meetings, of course, where everybody's following the CDC guidelines. And then the other aspect we deal with is we deal with the media. Because when things go on, they want to ask, whether it be something going on at the jail or, a particular death or whatever that occurred, they kind of want to know what's going on. And so every day is different, but every day, we've had already some really good days, maybe some challenges, but we've gotten through them all. I believe that we've built a great team. And, I was happy being an assistant district attorney. I enjoyed my job very much, but I just felt like I had more to give. And, it's funny, we talk about House of Hope. I was praying about it. My husband and I, we were praying about whether I should run. I talked with my mom about it, talked with my dad about it. And I remember sitting in House of Hope, Macon, and Pastor Howard said, "To whom much is given, much is required." And we've all heard that. And so, I was like, okay, yes. But then he said something. He said, "You ought to want to die empty." And when he said that, I said, yes, I've got more to give. And I just saw so many concerns and unmet needs in my community, especially communities of color. And I just felt like our young people needed an example of excellence to look up to. It's hard to be what you don't see. And so I think it's time for all of us to just walk into, the path that God has for us.
That was so good. Wow. I know Pastor Howard is happy to hear that.
Yes,
That
I
is
told
amazing.
him that before. When he said that, I was like, okay, I hear you, Lord.
Mhm. That's the truth. That is so true. And in keeping with that, I know a lot of people don't feel that their vote counts. And
Mhm.
you being an elected official, can you explain to us how important it is to vote in our local elections? I know we enjoy the presidential elections and all those, but how important it is for us in our local elections?
Local elections are just vital. They are essential for everybody to participate in. And I could not have done what we could not have accomplished what we accomplished without having the support that we did. We received over 70% of the vote for the Macon Judicial Circuit against an incumbent, my first race. So it was not just about, and I tell people, because, I've had folks ask me, well, what do you think your biggest, why were you successful? What was the thing that you did that you think, this was it? And so for me, it was getting buy-in from the community, and buy-in from individuals. So it wasn't that they were just going to vote for me. I had folks texting me and, inboxing me on Facebook saying, I took my whole family to go vote for you. So when you get buy-in from individuals, and then I think one thing that we especially need to highlight, because I can say it's not something that I did a lot. The first and only campaign that I had given to until recently was for President Barack Obama, in that 2008 campaign. That was the only one I'd given to. But, I think just to even stress the importance of support with voting, support financially, and it can be something as small as $5, and that's one thing we did with our campaign. We made sure that everybody felt included. We would have events and people be like, some of my coordinators, do you want a VIP section? I was like, no, because everybody is a VIP to me. And so I think everybody felt a part of the campaign. I know they did, because when I see them now, they said, look at what we did. We did that. Mm-hmm. And that's what I get more often than not. I was standing at a bakery and a cake line. We had masks on when I gave the baker my name. I said, Anita Howard. And this lady with the mask on, she said, I voted for you. We did that. And I said, we did do that. So that's what I say. Everybody's just excited. They felt included. And, I'm just so grateful.
And that's awesome to hear from a district attorney, because sometimes in our minds, we feel like, I elected this person and they've kind of forgotten about me or whatever the case may be. But you seem to be so in touch with the people that you are in community with, I should say. So thank you for that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And that's one thing I think that we have to do, especially locally. We have to make sure that we are electing people, that they don't just come around. It's not drive-by engagement, right? Where they just come around when it's election season, that they're around constantly. And engagement has to be intentional. With the communities that you serve. I can't govern from this courthouse effectively. And so I'm probably ready just as much as anybody else, for, this pandemic. So, to be over with, to really get out in the community, because that's where my work is. There are folks that don't feel comfortable coming to the courthouse to ask questions. So we need to be out in the community at various events and having town halls where, go to where the people are so that they can express their concerns and they can get their questions answered.
That's right. Most definitely. So what advice would you give to a woman who was kind of where you were when you heard that sermon from Pastor Howard? And it's like, yes, you might be comfortable, you might be in a good position now, but they know there's more in them. So what would you say to that woman?
I would say that first of all, like Pastor Howard said, you want to die empty. All the gifts and talents and abilities that God has gifted you with, you need to use them for the benefit of the kingdom. And the other thing that I would say is you have everything that you need because God is your supplier. There were times where I felt, people would tell me, you got to do these 20 things. And I'm like, how in the world am I going to get this done? I would pray over it and leave it. And when I would look back a few months later, all of those things were done. So God will give you whatever you need, because he does and can supply every one of our needs. And so you can't lean on your own strength. You've got to lean on his strength. And that's the only way to get it done.
That's right. That was awesome. Look, let me ask you some girly stuff. Is there like a favorite product that you love? A favorite product that you use every day, a specific lotion or something that you use?
I love body butter. So any kind of body butter that has any kind of fragrance to it. My favorite one is it's a rose and lavender. So I like those. Not so much a lotion person, but I'm really into the body butters.
Yeah. Okay, what's your favorite food?
Favorite food. Okay, this is getting good. My favorite food, seafood. Any kind of seafood. I like, crab, shrimp, fish, really crab. I don't eat that as much because it's a little bit difficult to get. My favorite is blue crab. And so we normally don't get that
Mm.
until we go close to the coast, but that's my favorite.
Okay. And one more. What is
Okay,
your dream vacation spot?
going to Paris with my husband, Todd. So
Yeah.
we were planning to go. And then they had a few kind of domestic situations going over there. So, and then of course we worked really hard. I had a wonderful team during the campaign, but my number one supporter was my husband. And I one of my friends, and you probably know her, Fanika Miller. She said, Anita, if there were more more men that supported their wives the way Todd supports you, there would be so many more women into politics and elected
Wow.
officials. So we had big plans after the campaign. We didn't know, COVID was coming. So at some point, we want to go to Paris.
Yeah. And that's funny you said that about your husband. I was going to say, and I've never met him before, but from the pictures and just the way that you are, I can just tell he's such a great support, but he's so secure in who he is. You can tell that. Just
Oh
from
yes,
from you all.
he yes, he shared. Even before the campaign, I knew a lot of people, but especially after the campaign and during and after. And he always says, he said, I don't mind sharing you with the community because I get to go home with you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Look at me. Oh, this just we love Todd.
I know everybody loves Todd. I'm saying when we were running, we would go different places, different churches, and the people would be like, "We wish Todd and Anita well on their campaign." I was like, "I think they think you running too." But he said, "I feel like I'm running," But he was out there making sure because he put all the big signs out. I said, "Todd, we can get some of the volunteers to do that. We can get." He was like, he wanted to make sure they were right. I mean, he was just, he was such a I can't even he was such a huge support. I can't even express enough. I don't even have the words to express the fact that I could not have done it without him.
That's awesome. Well, you guys, that's District Attorney Howard.
All right, Maria, I'm so honored. I enjoyed this. Like you said, we've known each other. Our families have known each other for such a long time. You've inspired me, and I lost my dad in
You
December.
inspired all of us.
Right? Well, and I often think about you because I know how close you and your dad were, and I lost my dad in December, and I know how close they were, but I know that they are so proud of the both of us, and so
I
I'm
believe
just
so.
honored. I'm honored to be on here with you.
I'm so glad you're here. You guys, give it up wherever you are. Just start clapping for Anita Reynolds Howard.
Thank you.
So glad that she was with us today. And we are glad that you tuned into the Pink Table Talk. Join us next week for another topic. But this one was outstanding. You all, if you don't follow her, go on wherever social media of the Macon page or whatever and start following the Macon judicial process. And if you're not involved, wherever you are, all over the country, get involved, register to vote, and begin voting
Yeah,
in your local elections to find out what's going on so that you can also have District Attorney Howard. Because
that's
that's what
right.
you
And
do.
I tell you all that. You think your vote doesn't matter? Just look at me. It does.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you again for being here. I'm so excited you were able to come on.
Thank you so much.
All right. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next time on the Pink Table Talk.
Bye bye.